to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And we are back. Once again, we are tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And it is Friday afternoon, and I have a couple guests with me today. I've got Courtney.
Hello, sir.
And who's that over there?
This is Sydney. Sydney, you got a hello?
Oh, hang on a minute. I shut your microphone off. That was Sydney? Yes. Is that what it is?
Sydney.
You talking to the microphone, Sydney? Are you ready? Oh, I'm interrupting her game. It's okay. Are you ready for Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah? You been good?
Yes.
There's lots of presents under the tree? Yeah. Okay, that's
She even
good.
got a letter from Santa.
You got a letter from Santa?
That she was on the good list.
We
were so happy for her.
Have you seen mine? Because mine hasn't showed up yet.
Ooh, we'll set in a good word.
Okay, I'll let you.
No, Todd's on the good list. He's got to be.
I'll let you. Yeah, little do you know. I'll let you get back to your game. She's too busy cutting hair over there or something.
Oh yeah, now she's a little fairy crawling through her land. It's fine.
Hey, cool, man. How old is
Sydney is 7.
7?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I got a 10-year-old, and he spends a lot of time on
When it's allowed, huh?
devices.
Oh yeah.
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 The way I look at it now, it's Christmas break. He can spend as much time as he wants on there.
Unwind.
It doesn't
They need to
do
unwind.
what he wants to do,
Yes.
and then I don't feel bad if he's busy doing that to like come out here and do stuff.
For real. I think we all need that like decompressing phase during the break for sure.
And I do too, but it's been so warm. It's been
Outside.
so nice out.
Yep.
And so I feel like, and I talk about the weather. This is like, I should do like the weather podcast because all I talk about is the weather.
It's fine. It's Idaho. It changes.
It is, but it's nice out. So I feel like I want to just kind of sit in here and like reload and do stuff. But it looks so nice out that I want to go outside and do stuff.
Yes.
And I don't know. I think snow's got to get here sooner or later.
My girls are hoping for a snowy Christmas. I'm actually okay with like hanging out with my chickens and being outside and not being like
That's right.
miserable
That's
with
right.
the fireplace on.
I forgot you're a chicken mom.
I'm a chicken mom. Yeah.
And you got like how many of them?
Oh, like 28, give or take. I can't remember. Something like that.
I used to have a lot too.
I don't see that many. I see ducks.
All I have is 2 ducks.
Where did all your chickens go?
The chickens are chickens.
We don't need to talk about it.
The chickens are gone. My daughter has some of them, and some of them were just kind of really old. And it sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Like they were really old and they were kind of freeloading. And
They turn into
eggs
little.
got really cheap again.
Yeah.
And there's 3 people in our house, and so I'm just like,
It's a lot of work in the
just
winter when
like-
they're not giving a lot of eggs.
so Todd got some trigger time. Normal person would use a hatchet.
I just disconnected.
You just
nope,
get
there I am. Use
Yeah.
a hatchet. No, that's not normal. Normal is yeah.
So
that's true.
I just they're
They're gone. It's okay.
they're gone. We'll say they went up in diesel smoke.
Yes. Okay.
Got it?
Yep.
Okay, we're
Yep.
in. Okay.
Nailed
Sweet. Nailed it. So the reason why I had you come on, and we invited the whole crew.
You know what? It's you get what you get, I guess, this time of year.
I'm good, man.
I know.
I'm good. It's easier to do podcasts with other people than it is just me.
Oh, I bet.
Because I can take an hour's worth of material and have it all spit out into the microphone in like 15 minutes and
Yep.
like be staring, well, not at you, but that direction, going,
It's a good view.
there's nothing.
Blanks and
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Brass.
A broom.
Sometimes
a
the dog.
bed. Yeah. The dogs can come in and hang
Yeah.
out.
So you and your sister-in-law and your mother-in-law, you for last Christmas, wasn't it?
It was.
You guys got an awesome Christmas gift.
Blessed be my father-in-law. He definitely gifted us with some lessons with Todd, right?
Yes,
That's how it started. We got a couple with
got
you.
A couple lessons. Yeah.
Which, if you need last-minute Christmas gift ideas, it's going to be well received.
I've sold so many
I
gift
hope so.
certificates
I hope
in
so.
the last 2 months. It's insane.
People need training. Like it's not something that they just know how to do. So I was super excited. Yeah. And then good old Granny got a gun and was my mother-in-law. Sorry. She's like, a grandma too.
Actually, it sounds like, tell her she needs to start her own podcast and we'll call it
Granny Got a Gun.
Granny Got a Gun.
She's on it.
I like it.
Nancy is at the mic. So she loved it and was just super excited. And then she pulled Todd to the side and said, Todd, we need to come and do like our own private, just the three of us. And it's been March through November this year that we've done. Yeah. It's been super good.
So much fun.
We are the cool class. I'm not trying to like pick favorites.
And so if you follow the Patriot Defense on social media, you saw the pictures. Like I reposted your guys' shirt pictures.
The shirts.
Like a dozen times probably. Because it was great advertising media.
It's funny. Our brother, or my brother-in-law, her son is in Tennessee, and he saw that on a vehicle and sent us. It wasn't a bumper sticker; it was a window sticker. Right. And I was like, "Oh my crap, we need to make those for the class." So we did.
Oh, so. It was absolutely wonderful. And what did the shirt say?
It says it has 2 handguns on the bottom, and it says, "I know how to load more than a washer and dryer."
I love it.
So we are all cute little shooting housewives.
I love it. I love it. So what I would like to do today, and I'll just kind of let you, I'll interrupt because that's kind of what I do.
Please, I'm not talking the whole time. I don't know what you want from me.
Well, here's the thing. I don't always go into this with a plan. I kind of have an idea today, and I'll ask you some questions, get you to talking, and I'm sure you talking's going to spark all kinds of other different things.
Bring it on.
That's kind of the way I work. I fly by the seat of my pants.
So do I. It's a good time.
So what was your experience with firearms before the class? And then what was your thoughts when you came? You were always pretty jazzed, but when you showed up, you were ready to go. And I appreciate your energy.
Oh, thanks.
And it was fun. You guys were great. And then what were your thoughts when you started, and what were your thoughts during and when you finished, and how did you grow? And that's pretty much what I want to do today.
So I grew in the way that I think your program is perfectly designed to grow. I am one that I've taken the enhanced carry classes. I did not file the paperwork because Idaho passed the open carry law, so I just carry. But I was one that I didn't always carry. I still don't always, but I didn't always carry, and I didn't feel very comfortable. But I did have a gun, and I knew safety. I knew how to use it, things like that. I just kind of dependent on my husband, which we've had a couple experiences in our family that my husband's had to pull twice to protect our family. Locally here in our own backyard once and twice. It was actually both in our own backyard, which is like bizarre because you think you're safe.
And that was that in the, we don't have to give up where you live, but was that in the country or was that in town?
Yep, very rural. Both were very, very rural. In fact, one of them went through with prosecution, and the judge, when everything was said and done, said to my husband, he's like, "You really had like a Wild West standoff. That's all it was." And
that's insane.
And so, we're grateful that he didn't shoot and that he didn't have to shoot to protect himself. But that really opened our eyes to, like, what he said was, you can't choose where it happens. And that changed him. It changed him. He doesn't trust people like he used to. I mean, rightfully so. I've never held a gun out to someone. I don't want to hold a gun out to someone. In fact, he when he first got his handgun to carry, the first time, actually, we didn't have a handgun in the house. And so he had to go out and get like his hunting gun. And so that taught us, like, we need handguns. And a lot of people don't have learning experiences like that. A lot of people, just you just think you're going to be okay. You think that everything's going to be fine. But the second time was he had his pistol, and I think in my heart of hearts, the only reason he didn't get shot that night was because the person was surprised that he pulled on him. Like, he wasn't expecting my husband to pull back. So, so that definitely, that taught us, like, I just remember laying in bed with him, like, when it was all said and done. It was way late at night. Cops had to come out, like, it was a big deal. But I just remember laying in bed thinking, like, and asking him, I'm like, why, like, at what point do you shoot someone to protect yourself? Like, that, I can't, like, where did it go in your head? And he was, we're both super grateful that it didn't get to that point, because It would have been in self-defense, but changed him. So anyways, like I had a gun, long story short, had a gun, didn't use it regularly. And that second experience was about 5 years ago. So still been a while. And didn't have a great gun. I don't even remember what, like it was like a cheap little something, but it was my handgun. And then I upgraded to the crappy Glock. So I'm a crappy Glock owner. And
you don't really think that though.
You think that.
No,
I love my gun.
I was gonna say, and here's the thing, and you can shoot that. You have a little G43.
I do.
And
good job.
it's just, I remember guns. I just don't remember names very well.
Good.
I remember yours though. So it's, you have that Glock, and that's fine. I think there's better choices, but it's what works for you.
I do.
It's what's
I do like
personal
it.
for you, and you can shoot it, and you were determined, and you're like, I'm shooting this all.
Yeah.
And you did good, and
Yeah.
you learned with it. And
See, and
that's
I think
the point.
I do think like I got an upgraded gun. Like I got a better handgun. We both have them. And when I was taking the concealed carry courses, I think it was an attorney that was giving the class portion of it that I took it from. It was a long time ago. And he actually said something to me that really stuck to me. He was like, you can't carry a gun until you are prepared to use it.
Be able to use it. Yeah.
You don't want it. Why else are you carrying a gun? And it's not that you want to use it to cause harm. Like you
have to be willing to use it if you have to.
You might have to shoot someone with that one day. You don't know. Like we had no idea what was going to happen with our two situations that I throw myself in the middle of. It was just my husband. It was but I mean, like that really stuck to me. So I didn't carry. It was locked away for a long time because I was like, I'm not ready to do that. So what I was most excited about with getting training here was like, I know how to shoot a handgun, but unless you are actively using it, which we came once a month.
Yes.
And the thing I appreciated the most, like Todd just we started slow, just got a bunch of firing practice in handling of our gun, safe handling of our gun, mag changes, like all sorts of stuff. And like it escalated. And then we did the little obstacle courses and stuff like that. Or I was like in the Target dollar section line when
you're fine. I remember. Yeah, I put that one on the video. Yeah,
that's where it always happens in my mind. I'm like, I'm gonna have to defend myself in Target. I know it. I don't know why, but it's always Target.
Maybe you need to shop somewhere different.
I don't shop at Target. That's the thing. I don't even shop there anymore.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, maybe that's why. See, I'm safer. But like, I mean, it can happen anywhere. So
no, it can.
So just getting our hands on the guns, like all three of us girls really, really appreciated that practice, and I think that. It became something so much more familiar to me, and I feel so much more comfortable and safer. And you don't know until you start. Like you really have to just start doing it. You have to start shooting. You have to start carrying. You have to start doing those things once you are prepared and like safe enough to do that. And
how did it feel like toward the now that it's over? Like I mean, you feel way more comfortable with your gun. Way more comfortable. Like you're actually carrying now.
Yes.
That's phenomenal.
So
when did you start carrying throughout that? Was there a turning point? Was there something we said or did, or you just started getting more comfortable?
I think when you started asking us, like, what are you guys getting out of this class? And I started to really gain an appreciation for being comfortable with it. Like, it's not something that I ever want to have. Like, in my mind, my husband's our protector, but
sure.
He's not always with me. And that's where I realized I am 98% of the time out in town with my girls, especially now that we are homeschooling. Like they're with me during the day. They are with me all the time, and I want them to be. And I am going to 98% of the time, I'm going to be their first line of defense.
Oh yeah.
And what your hat says and your is it on your logo?
It's no, it doesn't say that, but
But it says evil exists, therefore I carry.
Yeah.
We all want to believe we live in a safe place. We all know that, like you were just talking about it not that long ago, the influx of people brings the influx of crime. The holiday season sees an increase in crime. Like there is good in the world, but there is also evil. And I never ever want to have to be put in the middle of something or experience something where I am forced to draw on someone, but being prepared just changes your mindset, I think.
Yep,
like,
I agree.
try me. I mean,
Yeah,
don't try me. But
you're prepared. I
Yeah.
mean, you feel like you could handle it, or at least
For sure.
you're better able to handle it than what you would have been had you not went out and
150%.
practiced. And you said evil exists. That was something I created like 10 years ago.
Oh, I
right?
love it. I love it. And I saw it like our first time here, and I was like, oof. Like I've just remembered that because it's true.
And there's a picture I've seen on social media. It's I think there's like a group of people, and they're advocating for gun rights and the Second Amendment. And there's this little boy, and he's standing next to his mom, and his mom's got a sign with an arrow pointing to him, and it says, "I am his first responder." So
It's true.
I mean, really, and kudos to law enforcement. They're out there doing their job.
100%.
But you're there immediately. Like,
Right.
I had and I don't want to delve into it again, but I had a situation a few weeks back, or a month or so back, where I had to draw my firearm in a place I never thought I'd have to draw my firearm. And there's no way. In fact, that where I was at, cell service is really hard. The radios, I think even law enforcement radios don't get out down there. And that couldn't me dialing 911 the guy was rushing me. I couldn't say pause for a minute. I have to make a quick phone call.
Real.
Like that's not going to work out.
You don't have time for that.
You don't have a time for that. And they are even if you can get a call off, it happens in minutes or seconds. And it's over by the time law enforcement shows up. Someone's either hurt, harmed, or dead.
Yeah, and it happens. It's not like it's not like we live in a place where it never happens. Because you were also talking on that podcast how there were 2 shootings in Twin, that night before or something, and or the week before, and like we. Oh, where was I going with that?
It's okay.
Dang it.
Just collect your thoughts. And you never know when it's going to happen.
No.
And the crime is on the rise.
Okay, so what we noticed was both situations where a firearm had to be drawn. It took law enforcement, bless GPS,
It
but
took them a little while to get there.
an hour and like 45 minutes the first time. I mean, it was way longer.
No, especially if you live in the
then-
country. Like when you someone puts in the GPS just to come to class, it's going to take you one of 4 places. And usually I get a phone call or a text like, which house are you?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and so they came, they were wonderful. They helped us. They did their job, but they were also, it took a minute for people to get there. So
right.
It's not always guaranteed that there's going to be someone there to help you. And I've done a lot of, like strength training and like mental training to like my mindset has just shifted and it's become more aware of the world that we live in. And so that is what I gained from this class with my handgun. It became like more of a friend instead of just an object. Like I feel so comfortable with it now and I didn't used to.
Well, education is key. And you talked about strength training. And so it's actually something I talked about on the radio this morning that people don't understand it. Anyone can go out and shoot and you can learn how to defend yourself, but it's a lot easier and you are a lot more capable if you are a little more physically fit, right?
Yeah.
Because as you shot, I showed you the grip, I showed you the like the clamshell and all that stuff. Like it starts to take it can take its toll on you.
I was so sore after the first class. I was like, what's wrong with me?
I'm serious. There's a lot to it.
Holding your arms up straight, man. Let me tell you.
And then running around kind of the little course and shooting those targets and stuff, you get your blood pressure is up a little bit, your heart rate is up, and then you've got to learn how to slow that down and take those. And those are some of the most fun classes we ever did.
But I also have that stupid CrossFit stance where, like, what did I call it? The CrossFit squat, where I was shooting in a squat, and I was like, "Get me out of this squat!"
That was a little extreme.
I couldn't stand up straight.
But I mean, it's true though. You're more physically fit. Because think about it. You said you have your kids 90% of the time. You're with them. Like, can you grab them and can you run across the parking lot?
Right. And it is my job to raise them to be strong, self-sufficient, like capable human beings also. So what am I doing to show them that? Like,
you got to lead by example.
Exactly. And they enjoy shooting guns. They enjoy, and I mean, we have family shooting days and stuff like that. And it just is something that is in our blood. Like, husband is an avid hunter and always out on the lookout for critters, and we just I mean, it's something we enjoy. It's gotten exponentially more expensive, but
Well, it is. But I remember I actually came across some pictures a couple of weeks. You know, you get those memories that pop up on
always.
Facebook, and all my little girls, like my 3 daughters, I got 3 daughters and 2 boys, and my 3 oldest, they're all mothers now, right? They're married, they got families of their own. But man, when we spent a handful of years in Kansas, and I got these pictures sent to my phone right from Facebook, and they're just little.
oh,
They're
babies.
just little babies. I'm knelt down behind them. They're shooting, the 22.
Yep.
My daughter is shooting a handgun, and
Yep.
I'm helping her. And I'm like as a dad, I'm like, where'd that
Wait a
time
minute.
go? But what
You
awesome
can still
memories.
like feel him sitting in your lap. Oh yeah,
Pretty much.
They always plop in front of Dad's lap, and he's got the longest wingspan of any human being ever, and he can help them very efficiently. And I take pictures, but
Yeah,
I shoot my
But
gun
what-
on the side.
But what great memories and what great skills that are being taught there,
For
right?
sure.
My daughters, they don't carry. I don't know if they do. I don't believe they do.
Yeah.
But the option is there.
Yep.
They are educated. They make their own choices about this kind of stuff, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's obviously what you're offering your kids.
Yes.
At this point.
See, and like my oldest is 10, and she's, I would like to take some sort of like self-defense. She was just talking to me about it this week.
Oh, that's
and I'm
cool.
Like, she's a gymnast. She's strong. She's always working on something that has
Yeah.
to do with strength. But now she's like, I would really like to take, because I really liked your self-defense class that you offered here.
Yeah.
Where the guy came in and it was just the hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that. And my oldest was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I would like
Maybe
to.
I might have to talk to James, and maybe put something together for kids. Yeah.
Do it. That would be fun.
That would be cool.
Yep.
And so, meanwhile, I know where you work out. I know where you go to CrossFit. So you need to get your daughter signed up for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu
Right next door.
right next door,
yeah.
and then she could come school the class, our
There it
class
is.
when we have it.
There it is. And she can be like, this is proper form for all of these things. I
Yes,
don't know how to
yeah.
talk like him. I know they have kid stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be absolutely fantastic. So, would you mind? And you can tell me no, because I'm just springing this on you. Would you mind telling me about the situation where your husband had to draw a gun?
I can. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to,
You bet.
I call it stories. I'm not like pushing them off as just stories,
No.
but it's if we hear about other people's experiences, they turn into learning
Mm-hmm.
experiences, and we're not here to judge you or anything like that. But I mean,
probably already have. It's fine.
well, I told my experience, and there's things now that I think back that I'm like, well, maybe I should have done this, or
Right.
this. But it's one of those things. That's how we learn. That's how we grow.
Right. So one of them was right when we were first married. I'm really bad with time. It might have been our first winter
It's
together.
okay. Yeah.
But back in about 2009, 10-ish maybe, we were in this cute little basement apartment that we were renting, and that was where we lived. And it was rural. And we were renting it from a big family who raised lots of kids and great people. And their grandmother was having her 90th birthday or something that weekend. So there were lots of people already, right? And we got a phone call. We might have been going to bed. We might have been in bed, but we got a phone call from one of them, and they were like, "Hey, someone's here that's not supposed to be here. The police have been notified."
Was that on the property or
on the property? And
Okay.
we found out after, there were tons of doors because they had 2 added on apartments to this house, and this
Yeah.
house was pretty big. And
I love that. Try not to freak you out,
yeah.
but
So we were kind of like, wait, what? So I, bless my husband's heart. We were told the cops are on their way. We told them that we do not have any firearms and that we are all in the house and this person is trying to break into the house. And we were like, what in the actual crap's going on? Are you kidding me? Or,
Yeah.
so it took a minute for us to realize, because there's this guy in the backyard on this tire swing, and it was
swinging on the swing?
really creepy. Yeah. So
okay.
found out later he was in a bar drunk somewhere in town.
Yeah.
Had a taxi cab bringing him home, which I didn't know we even had taxis, but someone was transporting him home, and he was drunk and high on something. I don't know for sure. And he'd fallen asleep in the taxi cab, and the taxi woke him up for further instructions, and he tried to beat up the taxi driver. So guy kicked him out of his taxi and drove off, and he went past multiple houses where he was dropped off to get to ours. So that's what's strange also. I mean, there's lots of little things that
Maybe he just wanted to play on the tire swing.
it was a really inviting tire swing. It was a beautiful landscaped yard. I mean, it was great. So
Right.
he's there, and he's not supposed to be. And we had my husband, like our cars are parked outside, they're unlocked. It is freaking cold outside. Like it was so cold. It was around Thanksgiving, if I remember correctly. And he ran outside and grabbed his hunting rifle. I can't remember. I don't even remember.
Your husband just
jetted outside to get his gun. Like made sure he had his dog with him.
Yeah.
To monitor like energy.
Yeah.
And we didn't see him right at first. And the whole back side of the house, they had this really big backyard, and it was all lit up like a football field because they wanted to know where this guy was. And you could tell after he had like broken some screens and like tried to get in locked doors. Not all the doors were locked. Like he only tried to get in
the locked door,
the ones that he couldn't get in. So that was also a blessing. Yes. I mean, to think of like what he was capable of is scary. But so my husband's runs outside. And then I want to say, he's so good at remembering details. He like locked his door so it lit up the truck and got the guy's attention, and he brought him around to the back of the house. I'm looking at this like stand down happening between my husband. He's literally pointing a gun in the guy's face. The guy's, I don't know, 6 feet away from him. He's not far. He's not thinking straight. He's right there. And my husband is yelling at him, "You're not supposed to be here. You need to leave now." And the guy's like, whoa, man, just tell me which way to go, as soon as my husband cocked a gun in his face, right?
Sobered him up a little.
A little bit. Brought him back to Jesus. So he left, took off running. And then at that time you could see, I'm watching this all from my back window. Like we had like a day basement, so you could like see. And I'm just watching this happen. I'm like, holy crap, I'm going to have my husband in jail. Like, what is happening? But then obviously he wasn't doing anything wrong. He was trying to protect all of the people upstairs.
In the house that didn't have a firearm.
His wife,
Sorry. But I had to throw that in.
We didn't either. We did not have, like, we bought our first handgun after that experience because he had his hunting guns. And I was like, yeah, we have guns. No, we didn't. We didn't have guns.
Probably within a few days.
Oh, very quickly after. Yeah, it was a great purchase. We love it. So, so that one is our like home protection. But if he would have been able to grab something and then, he still got the job done. Bless his heart. He gets the job done on all the things. He's pretty great. But if he would have been, he felt unprepared. He felt like naked. He did not like that feeling. So, so he's watching the guy run off through the scope. Meanwhile, he goes down the lane. And my husband is watching him leave, and cop cars come flying up. So cop cars come in, all the lights are blazing. They finally find the place, and all they see is a guy standing in the yard with a gun, and they think it's Jason. They think it's my husband. They're like, "Drop your weapons!" And he's not even paying attention to the cops. He's watching the guy through the scope on the gun. He's like, "You don't want me. You want this guy," and he's that way. And there were a couple other cop cars that had come up behind them that saw him because first he evaded the first group of cars coming through. So they all had Jason down on the ground and his blood was pumping, but he was just like the gun was cocked and ready to go. And he so they disarmed him and he set his gun down and then the other officers clarified, like, we got him. This is the one that was running.
You let that guy up.
Yeah, he was okay in the end. Yeah. So he didn't go to jail. But so it was just that. Like, that was all it was. And it was just this one guy that just showed up out of nowhere that was not supposed to be there.
Yeah. And it's just some random night.
And it was so dang cold outside. And his coat was laying on the ground. I want to say it was between our two cars, or it was by someone's car.
He probably wasn't feeling anything.
I mean, his blood was pumping. So, and I remember when he had the gun, and then he cocked it in his face. The guy just threw his hands in the air. He's like, "All right, man, tell me which way to go." And he's like, "Anywhere but here. Like, I don't care where you end up. Like, I don't want to cause harm to you, but do not stay at our house."
Head out and down the road somewhere.
Right. So we had to do some debriefing with the police officers and be like, "Sorry, we are armed.
We were defending ourselves." But
in the second time, we had a pretty way more rural place, and it was someone that we knew that pulled on him. So we have mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to like divulge information.
hey,
so we had a client. We had we have a dog
don't?
training business. Okay. So
that don't
we had
matter to me. That's totally up to you.
Okay.
I don't care.
Doesn't matter. So we had a dog training business where we trained for the public. And well, first of all, I guess we'll backspace a little bit. There was a guy that lived right next to us. We were renting the house that we were in, and he was, I'm pretty sure, squatting in the house that was right next to us on this like really big ranch. And it was just those two houses. The guy never caused problems, like was kind of an old drunk, always driving, like you knew he was always driving drunk, like he was just bitter and angry by himself. And I mean, I'm still so surprised because like my husband is a good person and like stopped Christmas breakfast one morning and we made a plate for him and brought it to him before we ate our Christmas breakfast. Like he was taken care of, but he just was very unhappy at his stage of life.
Those people are out there.
Yes, he was meeting a client. My husband was. I was not even home. Neither were my kids, which I think that's probably a blessing because I think it could have escalated if there was more there. However, he had a client coming to bring a dog, and we would take dogs for a month to 2 months at a time or whatever to get them fit for hunting season if that's what they were after. And I think that's what this one was. Super nice guy, brought his little kid though. He had a kid with him. And so they were meeting at the house and he was walking him around to the backside of the house. And in the backyard, we had a little tiny backyard and then a gate that opened to our big dog yard is what we called it. And it had our dogs that we were training or that were ours there. And we have a lot of dogs and they bark a lot. Like that's especially when there's a new dog coming. They don't bark obscenely. Like we don't let them just carry on all day. But when you have a hunting kennel, it comes with volume. Dinner time, volume. Training time, volume. Like that's part of living where we live. And he came around the back side of the house and this guy was standing not even, I mean, maybe 50 yards, maybe. I can't even, I'm probably wrong. But very close. He was standing across the fence.
The neighbor guy
had a big old holster on his belt buckle or around his waist, and pointing a gun right at my husband's face. He was standing behind this fence and wooden gate that like Jason could hardly see him. And Jason's just talking to the guy walking around to the back side of the house, and he looks up, and the neighbor's literally pointing a gun right at him. And bless the newspaper's heart, they said that this man was arrested for pointing guns at dogs, which like my husband's kind of ornery sometimes, but he's not a dog. Like he was pointing the gun right at my husband, and it turned into a legal thing. Like it was terrifying. So that was the one where I was just it left us sick. Like that took law enforcement over an hour to get there because out there the coordinates were the gun's still out for the whole hour. No. So okay. Sorry, I guess I can. So he instantly pulls back and gets and moves in on him and has nothing. He has nothing to stand behind. He has nowhere to hide. Like he is staring down the barrel of this guy's gun. And it's just sickening because he was kind of set up behind these wooden posts and I still don't know exactly like what was said, but Jason talked him down. The other guy, bless his heart, he's coming around the side of the house and he has his kid with him. And I remember talking to him later. He's like, I didn't know if you guys were like pointing paintball guns, if you had like a weird paintball gun war with a grandpa that lived down the road. I didn't know what was going on. And then he's like, and then when I realized what was going on, it was like oh my gosh, like, can you imagine just being like, you trust bless this guy's heart who's going to train my dogs. And then all of a sudden, like someone's pointing a gun at him. It was crazy. So he dipped back behind the house and was safe. And I can't even remember what happened like with him later. We were the most apologetic we've ever been because that was probably the most embarrassing. It wasn't embarrassing. It was like horrifying. Like how in the world, you can't plan for that though.
But the customer
kept his dog there. Yeah. So
okay. He didn't figure out a choice. There's guns involved.
He's like,
the dog is staying.
I'm actually just going to go home. You guys can keep it now. So my husband talked him down.
Yeah.
And he went inside. And I don't even know if he knows what he said. I don't know what was said either because I was not there. And then police officers came and the prosecution moved forward because it was like He went, if I remember correctly, he went to jail right away and then got out until trial and was just there.
That's scary.
So that scared the crap out of me. So I did carry for sure there. I couldn't, I had a little, I want to say Sydney here was 2, maybe.
Oh, okay.
And then I had an older that would have been 4.
Yeah.
I had 2 little girls. It was middle of summer. We like to play outside. And I had a gun on my hip because at all times at home, it was sickening. I felt unsafe. My husband was just pissed, like so mad that he was able to be there.
And that you had to live that way.
And that,
fear.
and that was where we were at in our lives. And it was just the most happenstance thing that could have ever happened.
Was the guy like drunk, high?
Yeah, definitely drunk. And I think he was just done. So he was sick. He had, I want to say it was like emphysema, like the smoker's lung thing, right?
Gotcha.
So
he was at the
just
end of his
miserable.
life.
Yeah. But then he was just grumpy during the court process. Like it was sad because you don't want someone.
Right.
We didn't want that. We didn't want that for him. We respected his space. Like, and he was mad because the dogs were barking is what he was saying. That's kind of where it led to. Like that was his defense, but in front of a jury, like it didn't stand. So he was prosecuted and we moved forward with it because it was like, yeah, like where else is he going to go? He lives here. And, so it turned into something that was just so random. And I honestly think that he just kind of had 0 F's left to give. And at that point in that day, he was mad about something and he was not supposed to have a firearm based on his history. So,
gotcha.
So it was one of those things where it was like, okay, that's someone that is not supposed to have a gun, that is pointing a gun at my husband. That's because a lot of times people that don't follow the law,
well, laws aren't going to stop them.
no, they're not going to stop them.
They're not going to stop
No.
them. And so all this, when they come in and they try to take our firearms and try to implement all these new rules,
100%.
it's enforce the ones that you have.
Yeah.
Because new rules, the bad guys don't care.
Yeah, like why did he have a gun? And then he was just allowed to be there. I think they took his gun, thankfully. But heaven knows he could have grabbed another one from somewhere.
Well, all they're wanting to do is disarm us. Yeah. But let's take it back to you carry because you never know when you're going to need. You hope you never have to,
Nope.
but you never know when you're going to.
You don't.
And so on both your guys' times, right? And even mine, I've twice I was running. That was weird.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Nope.
The first time I had taken my daughter fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I never expected that. You guys were at home getting ready for bed or whatever it is, and all of a sudden that.
Yeah, I want to say it was like 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
Like it was like.
Yeah.
late.
So
Yeah.
it's one of those things you never know when it's going to happen. We don't carry because we plan on using it. We carry because we want to be ready if we ever have to or ever need it, right?
Yep. And I do firmly believe that is what saved my husband's life. And maybe he would have missed. Maybe he would have shot him because he was drunk enough. But the fact that he was pointing a gun at my husband's face it's pretty scary. And distance is very bad in my mind, but he was close enough to have hit him. So
yeah, exactly.
And we know that like what he said, I bought this gun hoping to never use it, and I hope that's the case too. I mean, I still want to train with mine, but
Sure.
I'm still very grateful that I have it. And I know that we're not going to the world is not going to suddenly turn around and be merry and jolly again. Like
No.
we were down in Vegas 2 weeks ago when the UNLV shooting happened.
That's right.
And I found out about it, and this lady, I found out about it. It was just, we got back to the hotel for just some wind down, and I was just scrolling through Instagram, and it was a lady that was there speaking 6 days ago that she works with Turning Point USA. And she was like, I was there, I couldn't carry, but like, that's what I was talking about was how important the Second Amendment rights are. And there's a bad person on campus right now that is not following the rules. I followed the rules. I followed the carry rules. And that's what sucks is they target churches, colleges, places that they know that you're not allowed, schools, they know you're not allowed to carry, and they know that they're not going to have any
ramifications. They can go and they can do what they want to do, and
Yeah.
they're not going to get stopped because obviously you're doing something like that. You're cowards, and you're going to go to a place where no one can stop you, right?
Yeah.
It's. I always say that the state, gun-free zones
Yes.
are just
A
state-sponsored
flag.
killing fields.
It's sad.
That's all those things are.
I know. I don't like seeing those stickers because I know that guns protect you. Like,
Well, it's a good thing you live here in Idaho because
Yes.
you don't see a whole lot of those.
No.
And even our laws when it comes to private businesses, they're pretty lenient to a certain extent. Like if it's a private business and not like a federal building or anything like that.
Right.
And they don't want you to have firearms there, conceal it. They don't see it. You're fine. If
Yeah.
they do see it, they ask you to leave. It's not a gun issue. It's a trespass issue at that point. So it's just one of those things. They don't carry the weight of law when it comes to private businesses in the state of Idaho, which is good because as you see, as more and more people move here, like there's so much,
So much.
And I talk about this all the time. And I know that people are going to be like, you never leave your house, Todd. And honestly, I try to avoid town.
Yeah, I don't like going to town either.
I went in there the other night, and it's been a
bad
long
time of year to go.
When I go in the mornings, it's early, and
Yep.
I miss everything.
Yep.
I can't believe the amount of traffic and the amount of people, and they're just freaking everywhere.
Everywhere. And I mean,
Like it's
walking and like not just driving, like the foot traffic has increased. Like there's just more people.
and I'm complaining about growth, but I'm not complaining about growth. It's good. It has to happen.
Right.
But with it comes more crime. Like our little town of Buell, where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
They just approved like 300 houses.
Are you kidding?
Like just out
Okay.
there past the church. Like 200 to 300 new homes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's
insane.
That's insane.
It's crazy. And you think that like you get to the point where it's going to stop. And we were just driving through our little town, headed home, and we live south of town. We live right up against the foothills, which I love. And I don't think it's going to explode out there, but it very easily could. But they had all these new closed off areas that were for hundreds of homes. And I was like, I don't understand. Like it's okay.
It's crazy.
They're
But
still flocking.
they're still coming here in droves. And there's a lot of good people, but with
for sure.
the amount of people that show up here, it attracts more of the crime.
Yeah.
And we've gone over it on the radio show, on the podcast, you name it, but it's be prepared. And I'm going to tell you the last 3 months, I have been just slammed. Well, I'm not complaining. Slammed with classes, slammed with certificates. My women, I'm getting ready to probably later on this afternoon sit down and actually open up a thirds women class
For next year. Awesome.
Because the beginners class is one person away from being full.
Awesome.
And so
Which that's what we need. And that's the thing is I hope people are just waking up more to the fact that like it's up to you.
Yeah.
It's up to us to keep law and order too. Like it's not like we're looking to do anything crazy or wild, but
the guy I do the radio show with, he actually had a really good phrase and a really good thing that he said. He's like, if you own a firearm, just because you want to go out and buy a firearm, right, doesn't mean that's the magic tool, right?
Oops.
You're good.
My bad.
Doesn't mean that's the magic. Doesn't mean that's the magic talisman, right? You don't just buy it and evil goes away. Like you need to learn how to use it. If you're going to own a firearm, you need to do what? You need to become an asset with it. An asset as far as I'm not telling you to go out and join a militia and protect the country or the state. That's not what I'm saying. But when you have a firearm and you carry it on you and you take it into public and there's a chance you may have to use it. If you ever have to use it, you need to be proficient enough to be able to protect your family, deal with the problem, and not harm others around you.
100%.
Other people that's in the parking lot.
There's going to be
or
bystanders.
Yeah. And no, right? If you don't ever go there, if you don't create, if you don't go out and train and you don't create a pathway for your brain to take when something bad happens, it doesn't know where to go.
That muscle memory.
It's that neural pathway, the muscle memory. Yep.
It takes time.
You got to teach yourself how to react.
You do.
And so it's pretty interesting how that works. But unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people out there that they come here for the freedoms, and they come from states like California, which is fine. But they come here and they're
They
like,
could stop, but
but they come here and they're like, oh, I'm going to own a gun, because it's
I'm an Idaho man now. I'm gonna buy a gun.
It's complete freedom when it comes to firearms compared to where they moved from. But they go buy the firearm and then they're done.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay. So now show some responsibility. Learn how to shoot it. Carry it in a proper holster. Get some training. Get your permit. Know the laws.
For sure.
And that's what's lacking. And there's so many people don't feel the weight of the burden of responsibility that comes with owning a gun.
Yep, and it almost becomes heavier once you know how to use it, because
it does. It makes you think.
Like, we go to a restaurant and my husband cannot just sit in any chair. He needs to be able to scope the room and just things like that, because that is what's happened to him twice now. And well, but
I know, I get it, because it's I go fishing, right? Or hunting or whatever. I'm going to say fishing because that doesn't involve actually me having a rifle with me already. And you watch the vehicles around you. And like, what is this? I show up to the fishing spot early in the morning. What is this car doing here? Because then I get flashbacks to what happened to me in Kansas, right?
Or Auger.
Tomorrow morning, I will go down to Auger. It's my long run day. It's usually Sunday, but it's going to be Saturday because of Christmas. My wife glared at me and said no.
Good job.
Yeah. So
way to listen.
So I am going to go down early tomorrow morning, and I can see when I drive in there, I can see if there's anyone in the parking lot or not. But you know what I do now anyway? I drive the circumference of that parking lot with my lights shining off. I'm just, and I'll be 100% honest with you. Ever since then, when I'm out running and it's dark, like I'll hear a crunch, and it's usually it's just me, right on the gravel path. But I've stopped and whirled around and looked around behind me. I am on, until it starts getting light, I am on edge down there. Like,
you don't know
crazy.
what's going on. Like, I told my husband the story that you were telling us, and he goes, "Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. Like, I've always thought Auger's just trashy."
Well, it is, but where else am I going to go?
Oh no, I've never been down there. I know he mountain biked down there, but
there's sketchy. It's worse.
It's
way worse than he used to go down there. I promise you.
I bet. Yeah.
It's like there's like graffiti on the rocks out there.
Yeah, people suck.
But you can tell your husband, he might find this interesting. This is not a gun thing, but I talked to two people down there. One guy that used to live right above Auger up on the canyon rim, and he said that this was years ago, said that he used to see elk down there. And I talked to a guy that goes down there and checks the power plants all the time. And he said last week he came across a spot down there in the rocks, kind of by where Rock Creek comes out. It's kind of hard to get to, but he has to hike up there and check some stuff. And he goes, "There's elk sign everywhere down there. I've yet to see an elk. I'm still looking for it." But
run quieter, lighter feet. Come on, Todd.
It's not even that. It's the
for real, death breathing.
It's the me and grumbling the entire time. How many more hours do I have of this?
You are much more dedicated. I love it.
But so anyhow, I want to say thanks for finally we made this happen.
Thanks for having me.
We talked about it from the beginning.
I know we did. It was. Yeah.
So if you decide you get that podcast urge and you want to come back on the podcast, just let me know.
Todd, I got another story for you.
Oh, dude, I'm in.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying I have one.
Okay, well, no, I'm in. If you decide
we'll have to try and get the 3 girls.
Man, that would be so much. I have 1, 2.
We have 2.
I have 3 extra mics. Yeah, I got this one right here.
Lots of girls in this family.
Set up.
I love it. Girl mom's the best mom, huh, Sid?
She's not even looking up.
No.
Yep.
No, it's a good time. We're super grateful for what you've taught us, and I do hope people take it seriously. Like, it's not something I took lightly, and I know we had fun while doing it, but like, I was super grateful for. It wasn't something I was gonna do for myself. Probably. Like, I'm a young mom of 3 younger kids.
Sure,
like, we've
you're busy.
got a lot going on, and
it was so worth it though.
It was. I missed one class because I was sick, but other than that, I was flipping here. And the self-defense one that you threw was way good too. I really enjoyed the.
I know, so let's talk about that for just 1 second, and then we'll finish it. Because the thing that reminds me is, so I'm a lot of times, me or my son, right?
Bless his heart.
So my son, you guys beat the snot out of him, right?
Got kicked in the shins. And
it's okay. He deserved it. I'm sure.
No,
there's a mess in my garage that says he deserved to get kicked in the shins, right? So, but I'm the guy too that would put you kind of in holes.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be a nice guy.
I know, but you're not going to be a nice guy.
I know, but I don't want to. No.
I told, for the record, Todd, I was like, be real on me. I can't remember what I was like.
Yeah, you were like, I had you in a headlock. Isn't that what I had? Yeah. And you're like, harder. Because
this is not realistic, Todd.
And I'm like, what? Don't want to.
I don't want to hurt you.
Well, also too, I don't know how certain people are going to react to that.
Oh yeah,
right. Because some people some people
claustrophobic.
Have things that will trigger them because they've had past experiences. I'm just like,
I'm gonna start careful. And
but it was funny. You're like, you grab my arm and you're like, choke me harder.
Yeah, I was like, this is not real. It was funny, but it was. No, that was good. It's just good to have that in your background. And I mean, and I'm not done now. It's not like I'm not going to use my gun.
Yeah.
But I feel more comfortable having it because I was scared from it. Like
Yeah.
it scared me at first, and it's a normal feeling. Like
No, it is.
I don't
definitely.
want to accidentally shoot. I don't want to accidentally discharge at anything or, have it fall. And so I got a better holster. Like we had a lot of talk about holsters.
holsters.
That was where we started.
I love that class.
That was a good
I love
class.
the holster class.
And I love the hog. Like that's been my one. I got the belly band too.
Yeah.
I really don't use that one. I just like to clip it into my. I'm wearing jeans, but I'm 99% of the time I'm in leggings, and I can still clip into my leggings.
and you appendix carry
appendix carry
is awesome, and it's been
great.
too good at Thanksgiving for me.
Oh yeah. It's
It's a little tight.
a little more tight than normal, but it's been super good for my headspace. I know all three. I'm not speaking just for myself. I know all three of us. Like probably my mother-in-law was the most excited. In the process, she found out like she hated the gun she had. She instantly got a different one and loved it.
Yes.
And then shot very well with it. And
Now she's got two of that same gun, just different styles.
I know, because that's kind of how she works.
Now
she likes
she
a pair of
needs-
shoes. She buys more.
Now she
likes-
needs to put a dot on the small
There you
one.
go.
That's
There
what
you
she
go.
needs. But no, I just want to thank you again for coming out and let everyone know that who's listening to the podcast. I do appreciate all the subscribers. And like I said before, when it comes to Christmas and you're looking for that gift for someone, this is the greatest gift you can give them.
It is.
And it's free. You pick up their phone, you go to Spotify, and you subscribe them to the podcast. It's free. And you say, look,
There
I
it
gave you a
is.
gift
There
right
it
there.
is. And we gifted them today, Todd.
There you I love it.
That was our gift to them.
I love it. I love
Sorry
it.
if I ruined your podcast.
No, you did not. So share it with your family, share it with your friends, share it on social media. Everyone have a great Christmas, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.